WTVJ Channel 4 News welcomes you to Hurricane Andrew, As It Happened. Proceeds from the purchase of this documentary are going to a nonprofit organization called We Will Rebuild that is helping to restore economic prosperity to the devastated area. To make an additional tax-deductible donation, please call 1-800-551-1010. We thank you for the contribution you've already made to the victims of Hurricane Andrew. We also want to recognize our sponsors, Blockbuster Entertainment, Burdines, and Winn-Dixie. Their support was crucial in the distribution of this special program.
I mean, there is no safe place in South Florida tonight. These winds exceed the building code.
This is literally a painful experience. This sand is hitting us so hard that it feels like BB's hitting your skin.
What we come out of our houses to tomorrow afternoon is going to be very frightening.
So you just had no idea. I had no idea that this kind of power was possible. It's just, you hear about it, but once you experience it.
The wind was whistling a death wish to us, the sound of death.
Everybody needs to be where they're going to be at midnight tonight. Midnight, Monday, August 24th, 1992. That was when we first began to feel the effects of the hurricane that would change our lives forever. I'm Brian Norcross. This is what's become known as the bunker here at WTVJ. This is where we spent the fiercest hours of the storm, hours that were terrifying for all of us here in South Florida. Midnight is also the time that many of you began to lose power, and with it your ability to watch our coverage on television. In the next 2 hours, we're going to relive Hurricane Andrew as it happened. And we're going to begin on Tuesday, August 18th. At that time, we were tracking what was then just a tropical storm. As this comes along, if it gets close enough to that, it's going to get swept up in that flow and go that way. But so far, it's looking like it's going to stay south, and this system is going to move away as well. So this bears very close watching, especially late in the week. Let's go ahead and locate it for you so you can plot it. 19.2 north, 59.5 west, 50-mile-an-hour winds, west-northwest at 21, and there you see the central pressure.
It's reported now that it may be forming an eye.
It was disorganized, becoming a little more organized, though. And the question is it a threat to us? It's only a threat in the sense that it's not that far from us by the way these storms go.
We are expecting the storm to start turning on a more westward track similar to this.
If the storm continues on this path, and it is heading right down the pike of due west at this point, we expect that the storm is going to be in our neighborhood here by early in the day Monday.
A hurricane watch is now in effect for South Florida. As you can see, it is almost 2 o'clock in the morning, and here at Varadero on Coral Way, every single one of the cashiers is busy. They've been busy all night.
We're low enough for a couple days, 3 days at the most. And
we strongly recommend that they follow the law and evacuate. It's for their own well-being. This is serious.
Hey, you surfers, everybody out of the pool!
And when he said 150 miles an hour, I said, it's time to leave.
You're in an evacuation area. What are you doing?
Staying.
Why?
Why? I got 2 little dogs. I would not take them no place, and I don't, they would die.
They are pleading. They are asking any doctor, anybody with any medical personnel to go and help out in the shelters. Are you scared?
Not really. Cool, calm, and collected.
At Jackson Memorial Hospital, the hallways are lined with pregnant women.
Now, let me say this to you. I don't think this hurricane is going to be as bad as they're drawing out to be.
But why take the chance?
The process of evacuation for South Florida should be pretty much wrapped up by now.
It is just about concluded. We're expecting to have the winds start arriving very, very shortly.
It's absolutely for sure. No question about it. It is going to happen tonight.
this hour. The center of the hurricane is located about 40 miles due east of Miami.
And it is a big hurricane.
What do you think is going to happen to you when it starts blowing here really hard in a few hours?
I'd say the wind's going to really blow friggin' hard.
We've also been told now that they are experiencing heavy rains in the Fort Lauderdale area, so it appears now as we had anticipated. It's 11:59, and in fact, it's 12 o'clock straight up.
Well, we hit that one pretty good, didn't we?
We sure did.
It's been about 90 minutes since the buses stopped rolling in Broward County, the buses that were taking evacuees from the coastal areas to the emergency shelters, and it was about 30 minutes ago that emergency coordinators suggested people stop driving. People should have been to those emergency shelters or wherever they were going about 30 minutes ago. It's not safe to be driving on these streets anymore. Standing on the beach strip in Fort Lauderdale, it's about 7 or 8 hours before we will feel the full strength of Hurricane Andrew, but already winds are 30, maybe gusting to 40 miles an hour. It is starting to rock and roll out here.
We just came from downtown Miami, where there is a quiet crisis in the making. We're talking about the homeless population under the expressway. Take a look at the tape we shot. There are dozens and dozens of people still camped out in their little cardboard shanties.
We have been told 4 county buses will go and pick these people up.
The outer bands of the hurricane are now coming across South Florida.
All police units have been ordered to return back to base.
The ocean has begun to invade the land over here. We are standing right next to where the pavement begins at Highway A1A. Normally, the ocean breaks about 40 or 50 yards out there. As you can see, we're getting pelted by the rain. The winds have picked up. I'm having to support myself on this palm tree over here.
We're just starting the long period of about 12 to 16 hours where we're going to experience the thrust of this hurricane.
All right, do you have any, you want to pin down where this eye is going to come ashore?
Well, it looks more and more like maybe even South Dade County. The center will be very close into the Cutler Ridge area, for instance, maybe the Homestead area, but coming right across to South Dade County here.
And Brian, I don't know if
I can hear the wind.
You can hear it. Let's listen to it for a second, because it's definitely an ominous sound.
And that's just the beginning.
And here are the effects of Andrew as he begins to arrive here on Miami Beach. You can see the palms blowing, and then over here you can see the sand. It's almost like a blizzard, a snowstorm of sand. And here you can see the wind is really picking up. In fact, the car is rocking back and forth, and I'm sure that's evident in the picture. Here's a bicycle tied to that sign that's just flapping back and forth. And as we look down Ocean Drive, we have spotted what may be some of the first real damage, a window that's been knocked out in all likelihood by a piece of construction debris or something that's been picked up by the wind and then thrown right through that window. And on top of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-story building, there's a flag on a mast that is, well, it's hanging on there. I'm not exactly sure how. We'll see whether that's the white flag of surrender. Everybody has basically left the beach, the white flag blowing. What is it like out there right now, and are you feeling a little concerned for your safety?
Not really. It's an old building. It's been through a lot of hurricanes. We've got a wind meter inside, and we got 106 so far miles per hour.
We're looking at downtown Miami, and every once in a while there's a brilliant burst of lightning that just fills the sky, and it's sort of an aquamarine lightning that just fills the sky. Well, here you can see the water's just whipping up, the wind is whipping up, the surf is just coming right across the front of our car. We're on the MacArthur Causeway, and the reason we can't get off the MacArthur Causeway is because as we turn over here, let me take the window down. I'll turn it down just for a minute. There you go. There's a tree that's down blocking the road. Just listen to this wind. I'm going to hold the microphone right up to the open window.
We're asking everybody to get into a position where they can be safe, not be moving about for the next couple of hours, because we're about 15 minutes away from supposedly the worst part of the storm. So we're asking everybody to kind of get a safe spot and hang loose.
22, live control.
So let's try that.
That's right there. I don't know what to do. I don't care. Drive. We may be into something here worse than what we thought. Just keep an eye on us, will you?
I see you, man. Let us know what the deal is.
This is a strange position to find myself in, but I'm laying on the floor of the car. My head's right up here on the seat. This is the reason I'm sort of sideways. We're underneath Metro rail. The winds are gusting outside our car up to 165 miles per hour. The car is shaking as if there were 10 people on either fender bouncing it up and down. You can see the camera bouncing here. I've got myself in this position in case some debris were to fly through and maybe hit a window. At least my head will be out of the way. Photographer Steve Schneider on the other side there, you can't see, but he's in somewhat of the same position as me, other than the fact that he's somewhat taller than me. He's 6'5", so he can't get down quite as low. This is the one place, I guess, that if we have any sense of safety, it is here, simply because we are underneath the Metro rail, right at one of the archways, and the car is just in between. So if anything does blow through here, hopefully it'll hit the cement stilts that are holding this up.
Friends, it is going to happen now for Dade County. Now, once the storm goes even further inland, this intense part of the storm is going to go through Coral Gables, and it's going to go through Coconut Grove, and it's going to go inland into the Kendall area, and it's going to be very, very bad all the way west, as far west as this county goes.
We have just been told that some people in Dade are beginning to lose power.
Well, whatever dumb luck we had has ended here. The power just went out throughout all of this Hallandale area. That means that...
When you see us move and you're watching us, we want you to move to your safe spot. I'll tell you what, maybe, Raphael, you could find a couple batteries here to bring in here as we go in here so that we don't run out of power. Although we're going to, I guess Tony has a mic in here that we can use no matter what happens battery-wise.
Here we are, Brian. We're all set. We're all set. I'll tell you what, this is the safest spot, without a doubt, here at the station.
The absolutely most intense part of the storm right now is coming ashore at South Miami, Cocoa Plum area, the Gables Estates, Gables by the Sea, all that kind of area, just south of the University of Miami. Do not think that you are in any way safe if you have not hunkered down and got that mattress over you, friends. This is the time to do it. Get to that interior closet, get a mattress over your head, get your family in there, and just wait this thing out.
And Kendall?
Storm shutters have blown off, trees are down.
Fences down.
Fences down.
The eye is just coming ashore there in Cutler Ridge. We have no Miami radar, so we can forget the Miami radar. It fell off the building.
All we can tell people is hang on.
Our producer is telling us that we have an NBC reporter. Is it Bruce Hall? Bruce, go ahead, please.
All right, a couple of things from the outside area of your building that you may not be aware of yet. You've lost a satellite dish out here. The fence that is around is now disappeared. What you're getting is a very hard driving rain that is coming in with gusts of wind. It is throwing a lot of debris and material around. To do this, I have to have another fella hold me here because the wind and the gusts just about pick you up. And that is the way it is. I've been through a number of hurricanes in a career with going through these storms, and this is among the third or fourth worst that I've ever been in. That would compare with Camille, Hugo, and Frederick, which went into Mobile in the mid-70s.
Bruce Hall, this is Brian Norcross. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, let me tell you that we can tell you with assuredness that here in downtown Miami, we are not in the intense part of this hurricane. The intense part of this hurricane is 10 miles south of us. and covering the rest of Dade County to the south.
Well,
I don't know if you heard the report. We had Dr. Sheets on as they're trying to survive the storm at the Hurricane Center at this point. They had 152 mile-per-hour gusts, and here we're estimating we're experiencing something on the order of 80 to 90 mile-per-hour winds in downtown Miami. So that's the kind of difference we're talking about.
And it is a very significant difference. And while you are talking about winds of 80 to 90 miles an hour right here, and you're protected by some buildings occasionally in the downtown area, right, once you get up to 150, that is a major difference. And we can tell the effects of that as we see the wind and the rain and debris come through the area. And you can tell in certain areas, probably to the south as you indicate, it's got to be a lot more severe than this.
Well, I can tell you with absolute assurance, we have people that have died. I mean, I say that just because we know what the weather conditions were like, and anybody there would not have survived along the bayfront in South Miami with those kinds of winds.
Gee.
I tell you, Bruce,
you better get in.
If you're out there for our sake, please come on in. You've made your point, and we certainly appreciate it, but we have no further need of your services out there. As Andrew's eye moved across South Dade between 4 and 6:30 that morning, windows shattered and roofs were torn off. Amazingly, even as their homes were coming down around them, people called in to be our eyes and ears and to find out if it would ever end. What are you experiencing out there, Ken?
Well, Brian, we've had nothing but continual, relentless wind. We've had no lulls. We've had continuous wind.
Right. I'm sure your power is out, right?
Yeah, we're watching you on a battery-powered radio.
Battery-powered television?
Yes.
All right. Obviously, your phone is very, very weak.
Okay.
So speak up as much as you can.
All right, we've been pretty lucky out here. We've only lost one window, but every once in a while we can hear some tiles coming off the top of the roof. We've lost most of our landscaping also.
Apparently a lot of people are calling, just panicking and saying, how are they going to get through the storm? Something you can tell them to just let them know what it's going to be like and what they can expect in the next couple of hours.
We understand a woman by the name of Madeline in Kendall is on the phone. Madeline, what's the situation there?
Okay, we have a window broke in one of the rooms, and the door is closed, and they're trying to hold the door back because it looks like it's all going to cave in.
All right, that's what you need to do. You need to do everything you can to hold that door in, Madeline, and you all get all your might behind that, because you need to stay in that enclosed room there and not allow that in. Those interior doors are not made to withstand it. What's going on now?
No, we're in the bathroom. My father and my brother-in-law are holding the door.
All right, well, as many people as you can get on that door, you need to do that, because you are going to experience this intense storm for a good while longer. Okay. So do the best you could do to give them as much help as you can there, because it is not over. It is likely to get worse again, okay?
Okay, and how long?
We have a long time to go, okay? We have hours to go here before this is over. It's going to be very, very difficult, and you're just going to have to decide, we're going to stick this out, and we're going to stick together, and we're going to make it through it, okay?
Okay.
You know, it's chilling that the things we just sat here and talked about a couple hours ago are happening in almost precise detail. 164 miles per hour is what the winds peaked out at the Hurricane Center. 164 miles per hour.
Over there, we have just left the Metro Dade Aviation Center. This is a privately owned building where planes have been turned upside down, torn apart, the wings destroyed on this particular private plane. Many of them just completely out of commission for a long, long time. Hangars destroyed, equipment everywhere. This is total devastation here at Tamiami Airport.
By no means are things back to normal.
And they're just coming out of the house now for the first time since the hurricane hit. This is about 8:30 this morning.
Oh my goodness.
And this is their view of their bedroom.
This place looks bad. It looks like Hiroshima.
Tell me what you see.
What I am not seeing is no emergency vehicles, not police, not rescue, not fire rescue.
Forget it. The airport is closed.
It's about 8:30, and we're going to tell you that parts of Ocean Drive are basically impassable. It's not a good idea to get out here at this hour.
Huge lights that have tumbled down onto I-95.
As you can see, nobody's getting through, and nobody's going to get through for some time.
Canceled all elective surgery for tomorrow. There is now a boil water order.
There are cables lying all around the streets in South Florida, and you don't know if they're hot.
They're telling us at the station that you should not be going in your car to go check on people. The storm is not over, the roads are not cleared, and it's really not safe.
We have an update. Unfortunately, I'm sad to report that the death toll from Hurricane Andrew is now up to 8.
60% of Broward customers of FP&L have been left without power. That's 425,000 customers in Broward. In Dade, the number escalates. It is 600,000 customers. 72% of the entire Dade area has been left without power.
As of 10:55, police have announced that all of unincorporated Dade County, south of Kendall Drive, is declared a restricted area.
You're going to see before the day is out some more pictures, even worse than that.
We're going to take you into a young child's room. This boy was sleeping in his room, and at around 4 o'clock, they heard a big gush of wind, so they decided that they would get everybody and move them into the hallway closet. Then, just seconds later, the roof here collapsed. The ceiling collapsed, and this here is where the boy was sleeping. So they got him out of here just seconds before.
Seconds.
Yes, just seconds. And I dare say that this story is likely repeated in many households across South Florida.
Let's get right now. The Country Walk, 137th and 152nd Street. There is not a roof to be found on probably every house in this neighborhood. Many of these people woke up early this morning to glass breaking, the roofs caving down on top of them during this hurricane that hit its full force, seemingly right there in that area.
This must have been really scary.
Well, I'm a nurse, and I've been through some...
Right next door. There you see some of the roofs that have caved in, and this is just some of the people that we talked to.
The kids were saying, "Mommy, what happened? Why is God doing this to us?" And my husband was holding the roof. My father-in-law was holding the roof. Everything fell off. This is terrible. I wish I'd never go through this again. Next time I'm going to a shelter. I don't care.
We have some pictures that are just back from Perrine where the National Guardsmen arrived at a house. Inside that house was one of the victims of Hurricane Andrew, killed when the roof caved in.
We need to get to Cutler Ridge now.
We can go to US 1, but it'll be too crowded, sir. We'll never make it. We'll go to the next lane, make the left. We'll be there.
Air Rescue had also arrived on the scene, but it was too late from what we understand. Meanwhile, not far in the same neighborhood of Perrine, 2 school buses apparently blown hundreds of feet by the strong winds and nearly crashed through a home, from what we're told. Instead, the bus landed upside just a few feet away.
It was parked over on the church ground over there, and the wind picked it up and brought it over here in the yard.
Just some of the devastation in Perrine. A gentleman was asking about that who called about 10, 15 minutes ago. And just as you said, Brian Allen, that you feared, the pictures would be the same. The devastation, the twisted metal, roofs blown off homes. You see buses tossed about like toy cars. It's a mess out there.
I just returned from what I thought was perhaps the most dramatic scene that I've had experience with yet in this hurricane, and that's at Baptist Hospital, where the victims of Hurricane Andrew are just coming by the dozens. During the time that we were there were 50 people crowded into the emergency room at Baptist Hospital. There you see some of the patients arriving, and this little boy, this was a tragic case. That mother was huddling him in bed, said she doesn't even know how it happened. He had a hole in his head. It's very graphic. It's so difficult to talk about, and I know you as a mother, Teresa, feel it. I was moved nearly to tears just seeing the scene at the emergency room. It's not only the bumps bumps and the bruises and the cuts and the fact that a lot of the people had to walk themselves and drive themselves to the emergency room because rescue crews couldn't get there. But it's also the fact that they feel like they have been through the worst times of their life. And I'd like for you to hear some of those interviews just so you can hear the graphic description and the emotional descriptions these people had.
In our neighborhood, it really just went right down the street, took off roofs, blew out windows, overturned trees. It looks like a war zone.
All you hear is things crashing, and you're going, oh God, what was that now? You know, and you're huddled in the bathroom, and you got the little radio on trying to hear what's going on.
2x4s flying all through my house. I've lost everything I had.
You lost everything?
My house is a total it's totaled.
How did you hurt yourself?
I don't know. I really don't. All I know is at one point I turned around to check something out, and I probably hit something sharp or something, but I just don't know. I've lost all thought about everything, about what happened. I just all I wanted to do was protect myself.
Just save your life.
That's all.
There were many residences like that where the roofs had simply been blown apart by this hurricane. Also, in the same neighborhood, we talked to a young couple and their daughter about what the experience early this morning was like.
It was absolutely terrifying, especially when we heard like the tiles coming off the roof, and you know, so tempting to look outside and see, but of course we didn't. We had everything pretty well battened down.
Where did you sleep?
In the closet, and the fence flew down.
Tell me what you were thinking last night.
That our house was gonna break.
And your house kind of did break.
Yeah, kinda.
But what was it like sleeping in the closet? What we do? We went what?
Camping.
Camping.
Did you go camping? That's good.
Camping in the closet.
And when you were scared, what did we do?
Hold hands.
We sat in the closet and held hands.
Well, they held hands and they went camping in the closet. I guess that's probably for a 4-year-old the best perspective for what a hurricane's like. Fortunately, she and her family did just fine, as did most of the folks in this neighborhood. A lot of damage, but very few injuries and no deaths in this neighborhood that we know of.
Once we can get Sky 4 up in the air to really start to focus in, you're really going to be surprised by how much damage there really was.
We understand right now we can perhaps get the first look at what's going on up in the air from Sky 4. Rob Pierce, are you with us right now?
Yes, I am. We have Buddy McKay on board the helicopter with us. Also, Linda Shelley from, she's the head of the Emergency Operations Department. We're going to look to show you some of the devastation down here at the Dayland Trailer Park. You can talk with both Buddy McKay and Linda Shelley and ask them questions.
Mr. McKay, I saw the wide shot, the wide view just before our photographer Rob Pierce zoomed in on some of the tops of some of these buildings. What is your initial reaction? When I saw that, I gasped.
Well, we've been gasping also. This is incredible. It has just flattened this area. I had seen the other surrounding areas, and clearly there's been a lot of damage, but this can only be described as total devastation.
President Bush, as we have made an announcement earlier, is going to be arriving sometime around 5 o'clock this afternoon at Opelika Airport. What is the governor going to tell President Bush?
Well, I think all President Bush has got to do is take a look at this. Nobody will have to tell him anything. This is absolute devastation. If they're going to declare any place in America a disaster, it would have to be this one. There are concrete telephone poles lying on the ground, and there's just nothing but little bitty fragments of what used to be mobile homes.
Okay, Rob, do us one last favor. Just give us one last look of this area. And is the devastation as far as you can see with your naked eye?
Yeah, look at it. It's as far as we can see. I mean, there's an area out here that things are looking a little better, but look at this. I mean, the roofs of the houses are gone, and this is a good mile away.
Yes, I'd have to say where you see a house with a roof that's even partly there, it's in pretty good shape.
I mean, look at this. I mean, this alone tells you the strength of the storm. It just whipped this house right apart.
What about rescue personnel? I mean, do you see emergency vehicles in there, ambulances and the like?
Not a lot right here. I'll tell you what, Tom, as I worked my way down to pick up this helicopter, there were a lot of people on the road, needlessly on the road, just to get a look at what's happening. That's slowing down emergency vehicles tremendously because they can't get around. We can't urge enough for you to stay in your homes or stay in the shelter or wherever you're at. Don't go out sightseeing at this point because emergency crews and cleanup crews have got to be able to get around.
Sky 4 is over just south of Tampa Airport at 500 feet.
Rob, Brian Allen, one quick question for you. As a guesstimate, 90% of structures in that area damaged?
I almost have to say close to 100. What about you, Mr. McKay?
I don't believe I can see a single. I don't see a single structure here that doesn't have major damage to it.
As you can see, a lot of flooding over here. Look at the street.
Right. What that is that's not heavy rain, and you can see the sand, see all the dirt up in there.
You're absolutely right.
That's the ocean that has come in there in this storm surge that came across. There, you can see the incredible damage.
How many feet would you estimate at this point by looking at some of this?
Well,
as far as the surge?
it seems to me that we have evidently didn't have quite as large a surge over the whole breadth of
Brian, look at this. Look at this. A boat in the pool.
Ooh. Well, there's a classic shot.
Photographer Rob Pierce is in Sky 4 over Miami Beach. I understand they're getting ready to open the MacArthur Causeway, and folks are heading back. And boy, look at that!
Wow. Teresa, look at this. Certainly a huge traffic jam.
Ooh.
As we work our way around and swing around. I can't show you all the way over to the beach, rather over to Miami, but there is a significant traffic jam here on Watson Island, the MacArthur Causeway. People obviously trying to get back. Needless to say, if you can avoid coming into this mess right now, do it. Let me pan over here and show you this other side here. You can see how literally backed up it is on all the bridges, including the Julia Tunnel, which we flew over just a couple minutes ago.
Now we're at Homestead Air Force Base.
That's right. What used to be Homestead Air Force Base, I'm afraid. Look at this. We're going to work our way around here, and you're going to see some planes here that obviously felt the brunt of it.
There's
every building here looks to have sustained major damage here, and as we work our way around here, you can see
that looks like that was a hangar.
Yep.
For the fighter jets there. 200 units, we were told last night, were destroyed. Housing units were destroyed at Homestead Air Force Base. I think so. That's what we saw just a moment ago.
We're being told that's an F-16, Brian.
An F-16.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, it's like someone dropped a bomb on this area. I just can't. I can't even conceive it yet.
And this building has just been blown flat.
Look at that.
Oh my God.
Do you know what that building was? Any idea what that building was?
It's hard to say. It looks like maybe some type of warehouse structure, large panels, not much. There's some cranes down there. See the cranes?
Yeah.
Yes.
We're right across from Toys R Us.
Exactly. Actually, this is the Toys R Us store, and you can see it's pretty hit too. I believe this is a Home Depot of all things.
How ironic, a Home Depot. Rob, your impressions, were you prepared for this much devastation when you went up?
Absolutely not. I was up through the storm all night last night in downtown Miami Beach, and I never expected this.
You know,
we're going to move around here over here and look at this.
My God, I can't believe this.
Lieutenant Governor McKay?
Yes.
Your gut feeling right now as you're flying over this area, sir?
This is just absent a war. I can't believe this kind of thing would happen. People have got to see this and realize the tremendous danger of a hurricane of this magnitude.
Very emotional. We were in an open helicopter, so it was very clear to see. I did not see any home, not one home south of Kendall Drive that didn't have damage to it, extensive damage. There were numerous homes that were down to the ground. Most of the homes had roofs were gone. It's just almost unbelievable. I've never seen a nuclear attack before, but that's what I would envision happening.
Okay, we've got some video now of Hallandale Beach. We can show you some of the damage there. This is driving down Hallandale Beach.
Again, it's the same scenario. The trees down, the street signs down, rain again, traffic lights down, some electrical wires. They don't look like they're down. They look like they could be coming down if something fell against them right there.
It's about 14th Avenue Northwest, if I saw the sign correctly there. And just some of the damage on the canopies around some of the buildings have been ripped out. Some of the phones have been actually dented around. And some of the stop signs are down on the street, and some of the fish are down on the streets as well. So
I think that was more likely from storm surge from anything else. I'd like to, if we have any more photographers going out like that and they find a fish or something like that, if we could try to get a relationship shot to at least show from the edge of the water as to where they find it.
Yeah, that's about, by the way,
we're still waiting for some storm surge information.
So how was it?
It was rough, man.
The light of day was a mixed blessing. Sure, trees all over the county were twisted and toppled. Traffic lights crashed to the ground at dozens of intersections. A1A was flooded with water, sand, or construction debris. It's all ugly. But Broward residents only need to look south. The devastation in Dade County reminds them Broward dodged Andrew's bullet.
We're outside Miami Carroll City Senior High School, where we spent the night inside this shelter. There are still about 2,000 people inside. We wanted to show you what's happened outside. Take a look at this tree. You were speaking of trees that had been uprooted through the night. This is a huge tree. Whoa. I'm told it's a ficus, but I'm not absolutely sure. But it may or may not be salvageable. This is one of the trees we observed from a loading dock just here on the end of the school building through the night. We were able to watch some of the activity from inside. Believe me, it was a dramatic scene even after dark. But looking at it now, we had no idea the scope of the damage. Again, this is just one tree. We're not talking about residences or losses of life just yet in Carroll City. Surprisingly, damage in North Dade was limited to downed power lines and uprooted trees. Residents there say Andrew made an impression on them, too.
I looked through the window, but I didn't come out at night. Because I thought I had like a lot of damage on the fence, but it was just like busted open. So I can kind of repair this myself. I got a lot of down power lines right here. Watch those. Then the trees.
I had just gotten out of the in-bedroom and moved to an inner bedroom. And then I heard the boom.
In some places, Andrew's wrath was more apparent than in others. Here at a strip mall at Southwest 184th Street, the hurricane tore the roof off the building, leaving thousands of dollars worth of merchandise exposed to the elements and to looters. Even though the hurricane wiped out plenty of real estate in Southwest Dade, we found one woman who lost her home but was still able to put it all in perspective.
What are you going to do, you know? I mean, it's like everything. I lived there all my life. I was born there. I mean, it's like pictures came off the wall, portraits, family pictures. Everything is just, you know, nothing. All the couch is in the pool.
For the record, Smallwood admits she has homeowner's insurance, but she's especially pleased to have survived the big one with her family, if not her home, intact.
You don't have no clothes to wear? We're trying to see what we can get now.
Many people who live at the Quail Roost Mobile Home Park in Southwest Dade returned today to see what they could salvage. People like Nayurka Fernandez.
I just wanted to know what's going to happen to the people that don't have anything, that now they're like practically on the streets.
Even though a lot of people have been left wondering that, in the wake of Hurricane Andrew, there is no easy answer.
We got each other. We got our lives. We got the Lord. So much to be thankful for. There's people that lost their lives during this.
This house is on 197th Avenue, just west of Chrome Avenue. Let me tell you what happened here this morning. When the storm hit at about 5 o'clock, there were a dozen people huddled in that home. The home started to come apart. So for some reason, the people thought they'd be safer if they all ran to a utility trailer. All 12 people huddled in that utility trailer till the winds of Hurricane Andrew picked it up and turned it end over end. As a result of that, 6 people were injured, all kids aged 8 to 16, and 2 men were killed. Besides the toll in human lives, this storm also took its toll on pets and livestock. We saw some horses roaming free, some stuck in the mud, some that didn't make it. This is one of the westernmost sections of Dade County. This overturned truck here is testament to the strength, the ferocity of Hurricane Andrew. Here's another overturned truck here. Behind me are the fields where migrant workers in this area picked beans and strawberries. We've seen a lot of migrant workers who are homeless, who are wandering around. They don't know where to go. Now, in town, they lost power lines, they lost roofs, but out here, they lost entire buildings.
Well, it sounded like a freight train coming through here.
And in more cases than not, what used to be a building is now a heap of metal and wood.
We just had to scuttle into a hole and just grab a hold of the kids. I was even going to tie them down. We didn't even have a chance to tie them down.
I'm a skydiver, and I know what it is to do 200 standing on my head. And the winds that were whistling through his house when the back room blew out at 4:30, 5 o'clock this morning, I figured we had 150 miles an hour wind blowing through the house.
It will take a while, but the people who own and work the farms and ranches in this area will start over, and they'll never forget the hurricane of '92.
It actually just bent the metal bars in from the force of the wind. You know, it just actually bent the metal bar, twisted it like it was a piece of plastic.
That's where one of the lights was. It like sucked up through.
Está bien. Ahorita vamos a bajar por allá. Ahora yo voy a bajar para verla. Paulita, está tristona, ¿eh? Parecida. ¿Quién es esta familia de ustedes?
A man was holding his daughter very close to him, and through the window a piece of plywood fell and hit her directly and killed her as the man had her in his arms.
It would be terrible if some people had decided not to leave, because I don't see how they could have survived this. It's terrible.
As long as I live, this is the worst thing I've been in.
You know, it hurts. You work for a good house and everything. One day, you don't have nothing.
This used to be all trees and shade and everybody happy and peaceful. It's like a bomb hit here or something.
I don't understand how all these people are alive. You know, it just doesn't make any sense that these people didn't get killed.
She wanted to run out the door, and I grabbed her and said, baby, you can't go out there, because if you do, you won't make it.
In my wildest nightmares, I'd never imagined something like this happening.
We decided to get up the courage to open the door, and I opened it. And I pushed it a little bit, but the power from the wind was so strong. And I looked up, and all I saw was the sky.
Pictures of the family. That's my niece and my great niece.
When the storm got bad, about 4 o'clock, I noticed that the glass doors began bending about 3 inches. So I went to the adjoining bathroom, which connects these two bedrooms, and opened the door and got in there. Then the wind evidently broke the door. Of course, other glasses were breaking. And I leaned against the door to try to hold the door shut during this tremendous wind. Then I noticed water coming under the door, so I leaned over and took a taste of the water, realized it was the ocean coming in, and I said, hollered to April, we better evacuate this room. So I opened the adjoining door between our bedrooms. By this time, in that short time, the water rose to about 2.5 feet, and she was on the dresser.
I was on my dresser.
And I climbed up and I said, we better go forward, and we went down the short hallway to the library.
The wind was so violent and so noisy. Some people have described it like a DC-7 landing, but it was horrendously noisy. But the walls were going in. The walls went in next to by the fireplace, disintegrated. They say that the closets are the safest place in your house. Forget it in this one. They blew in.
All of this as you were moving through the house?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And by that time, the water was over 4 feet and climbing rapidly, so I went over to the windows, started breaking out the windows right there to give us some possibility of escape. But the water was coming in and rushing out so fast that doing anything was impossible, and it got to be 6 foot deep, which is a half a foot over my head, but I was climbing on rubble to stand up, and she was on the
I've started out on furniture that was floating and trying to keep the furniture away. Elliot had grabbed a life ring that he had in his bathroom for his sailboat, and I had taken a vest off of my dinghy and decided during the storm I'd better get dressed, and I better put the vest on. So the vest held me up, and so I didn't want to leave him right away, needless to say. And one of the things that's very strange is you watch all your furniture going past the window.
Outside?
Outside
over here, you saw it washing past?
Washing past.
How did you feel when you emerged from this house and you saw this scene around you and knew you'd survived?
We are alive.
Where were you when the roof blew off?
We were in the bathroom then. That was after it got really bad.
And this is where I spent the worst portion of the storm. And my contact was the radio, and I listened to Brian Norcross, and the information that he gave me was so important. It's very, very important to have that voice to tell us, to guide us through. It's a very frightening experience, but to be able to know that what's coming, to know, is so important. And that's what brought me through. It was like I was not alone. I had a voice in the wilderness.
And when you said you guys were leaving the studio, we moved right along with you out of our bedrooms into the hallway. And the most frightening experience of my entire life. I mean, we were praying out loud that we would be alive the next morning.
We were hunkered down in the kitchen area back here, trying to wait for the storm to go by, and the front part of it came by and off went the roof. So we whisked out of there and went to the back bedroom, and fortunately the roof stayed on back there. We went with the mattress overhead and a chest of drawers against the door and held it that way, and that's the way we set the storm out.
And we were under debris for 6 hours.
So you were actually buried in your house?
We were buried under the litter.
We could hear a house just being totally destroyed, everything in it flying around, winds going, and I was like, God, just please don't let us die in here, you know?
And you didn't?
No, we didn't. We made it. Thank God we made it.
You're laughing through this. How can you be laughing when something like this?
I don't know why. How can I do it? I live here. I can't do it.
Were you inside when the...
No. I left the last the time happened.
Right.
Yeah.
At least you're alive.
All my life happened at the house like this, and now no more. I don't know how to do now.
You have insurance though, right?
Yeah, I have insurance, State Farm insurance. Yeah, I think he can help me. They can help me.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, that was 100%.
Yeah.
We can use it.
All this stuff just blew out on the side here.
Yeah. You can move up there. Yeah, easy, okay?
Yeah. Put everything into this, all your life savings, right?
Yeah, all my life savings. Put everything, every money in the house. everything. Now everything broken.
You want to see where we were when all this happened?
Yeah, I sure would.
Well, about 3 o'clock, my daughter and I heard the front doors flash open. So we came down here and tried to shut them back. And as we were holding the doors, these two side windows burst in. And then we went into, there's a closet down here. Yeah. Watch over your ass. This used to be a nice house. My 3 children and I, we stayed in this closet here underneath the stairs. That was our refuge.
That was it right there?
That was it right there. We couldn't go to the garage because our garage door flew off and the side door to the garage also flew off. So that was our only refuge in this house.
That had to be absolutely frightening to be in there.
That was beyond frightening. That was a supernatural experience. It scared us beyond explanation. The upstairs is demolished. We can't even get upstairs. I can't get out because my car keys are lost someplace upstairs, and you can't navigate through to go look for anything.
How about your kids?
My kids?
You talking to them?
They're petrified. They prayed a lot. They're petrified right now. They're really not talking because they don't really know what we're going to do. Just waiting for Mommy to come up with some solutions, which she doesn't have right now. This is it.
Not exactly the American dream, is it?
Well, it's the American dream destroyed, which is even more of a letdown, to have the dream and then to lose it. It'd be better not to have had it already.
Now, Air Force One is now landing at Opa-locka Airport.
President Bush took time out from his re-election campaign in Connecticut to fly to South Florida to personally see the damage caused by Hurricane Andrew. The president arrived aboard Air Force One at Opa-locka Airport and climbed to a Jeep Cherokee at the airport.
They just arrived here at the Cutler Ridge Mall. He should be getting out of his car right now, coming up shortly here. You can see the motorcade just pulled in. Obviously, he wants to tour this area and get a look at what's going on.
He was accompanied by U.S. Senator Connie Mack and the chief of the Federal Emergency Housing Administration. Among the devastated areas, Bush stopped at Cutler Ridge, where he promised federal help.
People of Florida who've been hit awful hard, you are going to make it, and all of us want your help. Now that you've very moving experience. Damaged or destroyed businesses, and we've seen tons of those on the way down, are eligible for loans from the SBA, the Small Business Administration, and flood assurance may be available. And I am ready, if necessary, to move in units of the U.S. Armed Forces to provide any emergency services. The governor has the National Guard out. He's expressed full confidence in that.
As that day turned into night, many South Floridians faced the darkness exhausted and full of uncertainty. No food, no water, and no place to go. For others, shock had turned to fear. Fear that the few possessions that Andrew had spared would be stolen by looters.
This is certainly where the worst of the destruction is, here in Cutler Ridge in South Dade County. Behind me you can see a Specs record store, which is completely demolished by this storm. Over here is a Holiday Inn that, as you guys have been saying, looks like it's been air bombed. That was Governor Child's words. Looks like a war zone. In fact, it is a war zone here. You've got the National Guard, some 1,000 troops here in South Florida. And they're here for a reason. Let me show you for just a moment, and I'll just wait to tell you what this is. It's a confrontation between a suspected looter and the National Guard.
Stop fighting. Stay down, man. Take the gun. Get the gun out of here. Get the gun away. Stay down. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, give me the gun.
What you're seeing here in South Florida, this particular stretch of Cutler Ridge, is people looting stores left and right, taking every advantage they can of this horrible destruction.
It's chaos. It's complete devastation. It's people in distress.
looters. They assault our vehicles. They assault the police vehicles. They call us out to assist. Some families are in desperate need, but then we get there, we interrupt the scene, and it's just mass chaos. It's devastating. No, come here. What are you doing? Hey, it's everybody over there. Yeah? Everybody's looting, man.
Why are you looting?
Hey, I don't know.
Why are you having your son loot with you?
Not my son.
Well, why would you have this little boy?
I ain't tell that boy to do nothing. He did it himself.
You think this is what you ought to do in a situation like this when hundreds of thousands of people might be, you know, their homes are devastated and you're looting?
Well, you want me to take it back?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. I'll take it back.
A curfew is hereby immediately in effect to last until rescinded by further order from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. for the entire area of Dade County, Florida.
The curfew goes into effect. What are your orders?
Everybody out is supposed to be arrested after 7.
We are at South Miami Senior High School, which is fast becoming the shelter of record for those people who have been transported up from Kendall and the South Dade area. There's a little bit confusion about how many of these people are actually going to make it in, but at this point, let me walk over here and talk to this woman. Where are you all coming from?
Homestead.
From Homestead? Do you have enough supplies? You have Huggies for the baby, I see?
Yes.
Any bedding or anything? Are you going to be okay?
Hopefully.
Do they say there's room?
I don't know. I just got here.
Where did you spend last night?
We spent it on the hurricane. We spent we was inside of a bedroom and the whole roof blew off. We ran inside the bedroom. Yeah, it was really bad.
All right.
Terrible hurricane. I don't never want to go through it again.
Let's see if we can skirt through here, but they are trying to get all of these people registered at this shelter. They need to have a record of who is coming in and where they are coming from, and hopefully the supplies will hold in this shelter. Where are you from?
Homestead.
From Homestead? Are you okay? ¿Todo está bien?
No.
La casa?
No casa.
No home?
No home. No home. My daughter.
What happened to the house?
It collapsed. The whole roof came down, everything came out.
Were you guys inside at the time?
No, we were at the shelter at the time.
Okay, and then they moved you into this shelter tonight?
No, we were here since yesterday already.
Okay. You have enough supplies and bedding and all that?
Yeah, pretty much. We got everything.
Hang in there. The last of the buses has arrived at South Miami Senior High. We are told this place can accommodate 2,000 people, but I just spoke to the principal of the high school, and she says they don't have the supplies to accommodate that many people, and I'm still watching them come through the door. I think a lot of people are just going to kind of have to camp and call it a night here because there just simply is not enough some of the supplies to go around. So that's the situation from here.
The sun sets on this day. I'm sure it's a day that not many people are going to forget that went through it.
Must have been right behind us.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Channel 4 News. The day after Hurricane Andrew strikes.
They did some search and rescue last night. I understand that went to a nursing home and they recovered some folks there and made sure that
recovered them alive.
Well, we understand there were a couple of fatalities there.
Well, you don't know. It's hard to know here because there is no lines of communication. So how do you check on somebody in areas out here that we can't get into yet because of the flooding? The trees are down, the lines are down. Telephone poles are across the roadways and you can't get to them, and so it's just a matter of time. We've been up in the air and searching and stuff like that, so you don't know what we've got to look forward to yet.
Go find him, check it, Sam. Get in there.
Well, right now we're checking a pile of rubble. It looks like it was probably either a bathroom or maybe part of a kitchen, which is an area that a person may have been in when this occurred, and waiting for the dog to give me an alert and to show that she smells the scent of a human. Or a lot of times it's the scent of some clothes that were freshly worn. Check. Good girl, check.
as every minute goes by, if there's somebody that's trapped and somebody that's injured, their health's going to possibly get worse. So we're trying to use every possible minute and second that we've got to try to locate somebody that's injured and take them out and help them. Sam, check it out. Good girl. Crawl. Easy, easy. No, down. Crawl.
12 confirmed deaths now just reported here at the Emergency Operations Center through Metro-Dade Police. 12 people dead now as a result of Hurricane Andrew.
For those in the path of Andrew's most intense destruction, life had been reduced to the most primitive of conditions. Dade County, south of Kendall Drive, was a different world, a world so tragic, so bizarre, that it seemed unreal. It was a world that brought out the best and the worst in people. It was a world that hovered on the edge of anarchy, and where heroes walked every street.
They've got their M16s. They have live ammunition clips.
And this is what looters are doing, as a matter of fact. They are actually climbing through here.
Every year I always go out and I buy children, my grandchildren's Christmas presents. And I had them stored in the hall closet, and they stole everything.
Looters who came in after the storm.
And after the storm.
As of this time, they're going to jail. We've kind of been lenient. Now we're starting to get serious.
Stay here. You sit here. Why are you looting? None of your business.
I don't feel sorry for you because I don't have food in my house either. I don't have water. I don't have a roof. I don't even have a car.
All looters will be shot on sightings.
And that's a real gun in your hand?
Yeah.
It's a real shotgun?
This is real bullets.
We're with Channel 4. Okay. We wouldn't be sneaking in with a camera that size, trust me. You don't sneak in on anybody with a camera that size.
I'm okay,
honey. What's your name, sir? You live here, obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah, I don't blame you for wanting to keep an eye out. Have you noticed any looters? Has it been
yes,
like that?
yes.
Really?
We already chased a couple out in the back there.
Wow.
And some try to enter the front, and
we've got a couple of people stationed all through the park.
So when you hear people talk about this being like a war zone, it truly does look like a war zone in more ways than one. It's not just the physical destruction, it's what the people here are going through as well. These people are totally shell-shocked. Let's take a look at what we saw earlier today. We're in an area of Homestead called the Redlands. This used to be an avocado grove. As you can see, the destruction here is total. The trees are all gone. The houses are barely livable shells of what they once were. And to make matters worse, Hurricane Andrew seems to have blown away the glue that holds civilization together. Homestead has become something like the Wild West.
Everybody has packed a weapon around here. It's for extra safety. There's a lot of looters driving by. And
scavengers?
Scavengers. Yeah. People that haven't even lost their houses. They're coming by from as far north as Broward, and it seems like they just want to steal for some reason.
So that's why you have a gun here?
Yeah, I'm scared. I'm scared. I don't want to shoot anybody, but if we're going to defend ourselves.
So you feel like this is the wild frontier? It's back in the 1800s.
I feel like this is the planet of the apes.
So you walk around with this all the time?
Oh, I have.
You show it to us?
We had a friend of ours out here a couple miles north of us tell us they were robbed at gunpoint. They took all their supplies, gas, generator.
What's happened to law and order out here?
I don't know. I'm scared. I really am. I'm used to having a big fence around my yard with my dogs. My dogs are sleeping in the house with us. It's real scary. This is the most terrorizing thing I've ever been through in my life as far as the hurricane itself, and then to worry about people coming into your property and having to fend for your life and your things. It's not right, and I don't understand where people think that they can come in and have no respect for other people's property or rights.
These people are desperately trying to maintain a grip on the past, because the past means a normal, civilized life. The present means only destruction and fear.
And we prayed, and we said, dear God, help us. Give us life, no more. Just give us life. Let us live. and let us be alive after this.
In 1989, I left St. Croix, where I was born, the day before Hugo. And 3 years later, Andrew almost killed me.
Yeah, I sleep with the gun right there. Flak jacket, some extra clips inside.
And this is just for protection? You're that scared?
Yeah, I'm scared. I got a banana clip in here.
What would you say to people who would say, oh, he's paranoid?
I would say come down and live in Homestead right now. This is a 30 rounds. I got another one in here. I would say come down and spend some time in Homestead, and pretty soon they'll be packing guns too.
I keep thinking I'm going to wake up from this dream, and I'm not waking up. I haven't slept since the storm. It's horrible.
The wind was whistling a death wish to us, the sound of death, like the Grim Reaper was right at the front door. I don't feel like living here anymore.
I mean that, George. I wouldn't buy
What happened to your home during the storm?
Everything was gone, especially mine and the baby's room was all gone. We lost all our clothing. We have no shoes. We have nothing. Everything left.
How's your son dealing with the situation?
He's not doing very good. He cries constantly at night and the screaming. You know, at nighttime he gets very scared and he asks us to close the door. But, you know...
But are you getting assistance that you need from the government?
I called, supposedly. I'm supposed to hear from them to 3 to 10 days and see if they're going to come see the area where it was damaged, and they're going to let me know what they can help me with.
And where do you go from here?
From there, find a new place to stay at, because I had a rented house, so I had no insurance to cover anything I lost.
Are you optimistic?
Yeah. I just make the best of what I've got now. It's all I can do. Take it one day at a time.
Well, we're going to open whatever we can open up and cook it and try to feed the kids.
So this is about 5 households coming together trying to make this one meal. 5 households.
A lot of people are waiting to get back in Key Biscayne. The word from officials is that residents will be able to get back in sometime later today.
We want to go home.
Yes, we want to go home.
We came yesterday and one of the policemen told us, this is, if you want to be independent, this is what you get.
We can't bathe. We can't flush our toilets. You know, we're out here working in the sun. Water is definitely a priority. Ice water.
I mean, it's cold.
Ice is a hot commodity. People have formed a line all the way down the block, further than we can even see from where we're standing right now. Yeah, that's a 6-hour, 7-hour wait on the average for 5 bags of ice.
I've seen people come in here and steal water out of these shopping malls and center and go over here across the street on the corner and sell them $5 for a gallon of water.
This guy from Tampa came down and was selling little pieces of dry ice for $3.
Ice arrives in Homestead, and within moments, hot tempers flare.
When these vehicles do arrive in your area, please don't mob them. Please act in an orderly fashion, or else they won't let us bring you anything else.
Stop. Hey, hold on. Hey, get out. Out. I don't know how they want to hold this yet. Out. Brothers and sisters, please. Can't get no water. Please hear my earnest plea. We are in a mess that we didn't create. When you are in a situation where you are facing the possibility of drowning, don't open your mouth and close your eyes. Do the opposite. Close your mouth, open your eyes, and keep kicking. We must not, in our anguish, turn on each other.
We've run out momentarily. There will be more later today. We need you to come back later, please.
This is a real tough way to try and live. You got
people scavenging, just literally scavenging. I'm sure they're happy to have all of this stuff, but here in the midst of all of this, you've got kids scavenging for toys. But still, there's a lot of need and there's a lot of frustration. And as we've heard, if it wasn't for the National Guard and police, people would be getting shot. It's just that tense out here. There's already been gunfire.
Traffic is a nightmare heading into Dade County.
Heavy delays on the Palmetto Expressway. It's already slow around the big curve, and it continues slow down to 103 Street.
Some intersections have signal lights, some of them don't, some of them have stop signs, some of them don't.
These are folks who want to head to the Keys, and we're estimating, and I'm going to be kind here and say that this is a 7-mile backup. It probably is longer.
The county manager last night asked all non-essential county employees, ones who have not been assigned emergency duty, to report to our traffic control center. We're giving them brief training and assigning them to direct traffic physically at those locations where traffic signals are not working.
Get out of the intersection.
Are you having any problem with the people obeying you?
Most of them, once they understand, well, we got our signals clear, they understand what we're doing, they're doing it. Wait. Let these two by.
Make sure you do your gas mix right, because if you don't mix it right, it'll burn out.
That's the reason all the people enjoy themselves. There are some people that are kicking us while we're down. By that I mean that they're charging way too much for the product or the service.
We're selling generators, chainsaws, gas, and oil.
Are people being fair out here, or are they gouging the public?
They were gouging the public.
We're at Kendall South Boulevard and Southwest 103rd Avenue. I believe this is 103rd Avenue. Take a look at the devastation over here. You can see all the trees are gone. And Kelly Craig said something earlier that was very apt, and that is you never really perhaps realize how beautiful trees are until you end up in a situation like this where they are all toppled and the beauty of the neighborhood is ruined.
No, we can't save this. All of this has to be removed. These trees will never grow again.
We've been taking this down for 3 days now. It was the biggest tree in South Miami over our house. It destroyed the roof.
We're on Old Cutler Road now, where the canopied trees used to provide complete cover. You could barely see the sky, and you can see there's not much left of that canopy. Some people we've spoken to suggest it could take 10, 15 years for these trees to grow back the way they once were.
These trees were in this grove for 15 years. It was a producing grove, good grove, made good quality fruit, and made a lot of jobs for people. When the trees blew out of the ground, they broke the irrigation system up and took everything out of here. This grove is 100% lost now. It's a piece of bare land, and that's it. There's nothing else left.
Tell me what this means, pal, for, I presume, there's fruit that can be had elsewhere, not maybe of the same quality as you grow here in South Florida. But what about the jobs? You've got packers, you've got laborers, you've got people like yourself who run the packing houses. How serious is this?
The lime industry sustained a loss of over 4,000 acres. In the night of the hurricane. 4,000 acres is about 7 square miles. If you wanted to put that in terms of wages for people, there was a $10 million harvesting payroll lost that night that will not be here this year. And if you replant the trees this year, that $10 million payroll for harvesting won't be here. It will start earliest 4 years from now. We supplied 40% of the U.S. market in limes. We're out. The windfall goes to Mexico.
And the consumers are out too, right?
Well, the prices today are 3 times what they were 2 weeks ago.
Tell me about your plant, because we looked at your packing house, and that sustained a lot of damage as well.
It's like most of what I see in the residences in the area that I drive around here. If it was concrete block structure, it's still there. If it was steel, or in some cases wood, it peeled away. We think what we have looks worse than it really is, and we're going to be in decent shape. We're a lot luckier than others.
Bottom line, for the lime groves, for the avocado growers, for the agriculture industry in South Dade County, it's in pretty bad shape as a result of this storm?
There are 3 parts of the agricultural industry. We've got nurseries, we've got fruit trees, and we've got vegetables. Except for a few tropical vegetables, nobody had any vegetables in the ground. That's a wintertime crop. They'll start planting next month. Nurseries are absolutely devastated. Groves have been hammered down for avocados, no real crop for 2 years. Mangoes, no real crop for 2 years. 2/3 of the lime industry. If you replant it, you start harvesting again in 4 years. So I don't know what's going to happen with the grove industry. The jury's not in yet. We'll wait and see.
Okay. Well, this is home sweet home after Hurricane Andrew. You know, a lot of this stuff is, you know, like the old stereo, the old black and white TV, and you know, some cast-off kind of things I just brought down here to kind of get started. And yet, I should probably pitch it all out, but because it's been with our family for so long, like the speakers for the stereo, we bought those the day after we were married. Okay, so I should toss them. But then you go, wait a minute, it's been through a lot, and now it's been through a hurricane, and so of course I'm going to keep it. Thanks, Andrew. My daughter's radio, the box for my miniature car, and my wife's placemat. You know, stuff like that she'll ask about, so I got to have it. That's it, man. I'm gone. I'm out of here.
Your neighborhood's been wrecked. So where do you go from here? Insurance.
Has anybody from your insurance company? I see you've got Highlands Insurance up.
They haven't been out yet.
Not yet?
Not yet.
This is their chance to really show what they can do. They've been collecting the premiums all these years. Now what we expect them to do is show that what they're there for. It's time now to write the checks and get these people's lives back in order and get them some money so that they can start to rebuild.
You filing a claim today?
Yeah, I got a claim with Allstate, yes.
How's that going?
Well, we've been here for about 5 hours. We're still waiting.
How you doing, Harry? You're next. Come on in.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, they got one to go.
We're at the Fountains apartment complex in Southwest Dade, where the tenants here have received a letter from the landlord demanding rent payments.
Take your cameras in there. It's not livable.
What is this?
I don't know what it is. It's water. It's I don't know. I could understand that they're in a bind and they want to fix it, and I could accept all that. But how can they tell me to pay the rent here? Well, for 3 months, and I'm not going to be living here.
We have to leave because the whole roof was falling down. I want to see the owner telling the people what to do and what he's going to do to us, you know, for us in return. We're good tenants. Now we need him. He needs to be here.
What do you think of this, Greg?
I don't like it.
All of these people behind me are complaining about the situation here.
I came back and look at all this. I lost everything. I mean, how can we pay rent when we're not staying here?
Mm-hmm.
We can't stay here.
Yeah.
We have a baby.
Okay, we're going to go to the next apartment here.
They said her apartment was safe. I want you to see what's safe.
This is my apartment. They told me, oh, you don't have to worry, it's safe. The circuit breaker box was sizzling. We had to turn off all the circuits. Water is coming down. You see, my neighbors above have no roof. I got a letter. They wanted me to pay rent. I'm not paying them $1. Not $1.
I cannot believe that they're going to make me pay the rent in an apartment that looks like this. It can't happen.
As you can see, there are a lot of angry people out here.
What's burning me up is that there's no compassion. I mean, we're all trying collectively to do something together. But what is he doing?
They're collecting rent. They haven't been by once. They haven't been by. They closed the office. They refuse to talk to us, yet they're trying to collect our rent.
I can't live here. I have to go, and I don't have no furniture. I have nothing.
So you're appealing to the landlord to do something about this horrible situation?
Well, I mean, I'm not paying the rent. You know, I already talked to attorneys. I talked to people. How can I pay the rent for something that's over there that's destroyed?
The manager has just come here to check out the place.
I'm very upset with the people here because they took no precaution 24 hours before the hurricane. There's been no cooperation with residents towards a neighbor or anyone.
Where were you guys before? Not now. Where were you guys before when we needed you? Where were you?
As you see, we have people out here working. But what's happening right now, people are frustrated. They don't have renter's insurance. And what happens is that, you know, they didn't take precaution.
And I went and talked to her, and she said if I don't pay my rent by September 5th, I'm going to get in trouble.
Oh, no! Oh, no!
The hospital, set up at Homestead Middle School, looks like a scene out of MASH.
Doctors, nurses, and other volunteers attending the injured, amidst what one physician described as organized chaos.
We're dealing a lot with the heat stress and cardiac arrest problems, people that are suffering from heat fatigue.
So they're just dying now after all of this?
Yes, ma'am. We've had probably 3 or 4 yesterday, and we've had a couple today so far, just in the city of Homestead.
I think it's a terrible mess.
Do the same thing.
And everything else.
No insurance. No insurance. My car is devastated, but I'm not the only one. There's quite a few people that are going through the same thing. Look all around. It's a very lost feeling.
Boys, can you grab this stuff? Not much left.
How did you feel when you came out here and you saw it for the first time?
Just a terrible sense of losing everything that I had. Shock. My only comfort, I guess, is knowing that I'm not the only one that's going through this right now. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm sure nobody else knows what they're going to do either. And somehow or another, I guess we'll get through this. There's things to be thankful for. We're alive. Yeah. Nothing could compare with such devastation and such loss. I'm moving around like I think I know what I'm doing, but I don't really know if I know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to gather things that will maybe make the next couple of weeks a little bit more livable. I can't face tomorrow because I don't know what that's going to bring. I just could not believe, I knew that there was going to be windows out, and I knew there was going to be roof damage, but I never thought that I would see just a flattened.
Well, they said that there were some tornadoes afterwards.
Oh, that's where you're going, Port St. Lucie?
Yeah, we don't have anywhere else to go.
Neither one of us had insurance on the mobile homes. You make decisions in life. You don't know. You've got car insurance, life insurance, and it was just one of those things that we didn't think. Probably we just never thought it would happen. It did. And this will pass.
I have a 24-foot sailboat that I left on a mooring off Dinner Key, and I went out yesterday morning and it wasn't there, so I'm trying to find out where it went. I'm hoping it's up on somebody's lawn.
To show you the power of the ocean, the rising ocean during a storm, all you have to do is look at the backyard of this house on Old Cutler Road, and you see the Seaward Explorer.
I've been in a couple of blows, but this one just kept on going. The water came up to the bottom of that lamp there.
At any point in time did you say, I made a mistake?
No. Absolutely not. Look, I'm here. That boat's 50 years old. It's afloat. Those boats are brand new. They're on the rocks. I didn't make a mistake. I built her to do that.
I was lucky enough.
What's the name of your boat?
Jimmy's Hurricane. Jimmy's Hurricane. God almighty.
I wanted to point out something else that we saw earlier in the day as well. In Florida City, there's been a lot of talk about these monkeys that have escaped here in South Florida as a result of the storm. And we found them this afternoon in a field near Florida City. A couple of law enforcement officers told us that they'd spotted them. We went out looking in the field, and yes, indeed, you can see them scampering along here.
We've heard from police and other people that say that these things can be carrying hepatitis and possibly AIDS virus, and said to, if you see them, shoot them.
All right, and he did.
He did. He took 2 shots at him, and there was another one with him that got away.
Stand on any corner in South Dade, and this is what you see. People driving cars that under any other circumstances would be considered undrivable. They are bruised, they are battered, they are bandaged.
But for most people, this is their only link to the outside world. Not only is the windshield missing in that one, they have a little less headroom. No back window either. The front end of that thing, that must have taken a tree. A convertible, no top, no front, not much left of that one. Look at this landscaping truck. Clearly something ended up on top of it during the storm. The guy barely has a windshield, though he still has a smile on his face. And the camper that he's carrying behind that thing obviously spent most of the storm on its side. That's a working vehicle. This blue van is now home away from home for Angelo Packard and his family. They've called this home since Andrew blew through town. This is now the dining room?
Yeah, this is the dining room, the living room,
breakfast room,
the sitting room. This is the whole thing right here.
You guys have actually been sleeping inside of here?
Yeah, every other night we sleep in here, yeah.
What's your apartment like? Total mess?
Ooh, our apartment is total. You stand in our living room, bedroom, and look through everybody else's bedroom.
Angelo and Sandra have an opportunity to relocate to an apartment in Pompano Beach, but that takes them away from family, from a son, from their jobs. And it's not something they're willing to do. So at this point, they'll stay in that van.
Tell Jesse Jackson to come back and help us keep hope alive.
All right, take a look out here. The rain has started to kick up again. We came out about 5 minutes ago because things have subsided a little bit. Carlos, if you can, take a look at my feet. Look at how much standing water there is. And I mean, for the last half hour, 45 minutes, it has been coming down relentless. But,
you got to remember, most of the roofs down here are gone. So whatever contents people have not been able to salvage yet, now they're getting just dumped on. This rain, like I said.
This is a mess. This is the second day in a row that these poor people have faced a huge onslaught of rain. In fact,
we do have a report of a man struck by lightning this afternoon. These pictures are just in. This happened at Chrome and Southwest 177th Street.
We need medical supplies, we need water, we need non-perishable items, and a lot of prayers.
These are the kinds of stories we're talking about. Neighbors like Paul and Pam who are basically just sharing their resources.
I had the chainsaw, but I didn't know how to work it. So he knows how to work it. I have the pieces. I have the oil, he has the gas. I'm meeting a lot of neighbors I didn't know. Yeah. Unfortunately, you know, a disaster has to come along to get people together.
There wasn't a lot of activity happening as far as shelters opening and things like that, so we got with the city manager here in Homestead. We broke into this school, and now we're operating a shelter.
Until we have people directing this effort, then the people who want to help will have to do it on their own.
You have any more toilet paper? Wipes or one of the baby wipes? Okay.
I mean, we put together 3 of us, our church, our construction company, and we just decided we're going to give it to people that really looked like they needed it, so we weren't going to worry about the danger, that we were going to go ahead, that we were just going to, there you are, that we were just going to go ahead and bring it down and get it to the people we needed. People were saying that the stuff wasn't getting out to them because they couldn't get to the shopping centers, and we decided we're just going to get it straight to them, so that's what we've been doing. Good luck to you. All right, bye-bye. You need anything?
What's in there again?
Who needs Pampers?
I do.
water, diapers. There's a lot of like newborn babies down here, and they have no diapers. And they've got, this is like the first time anybody's been here, apparently, from what these people are saying. We just came down with a load of stuff. This is our second trip down. And wherever we go, people come running after us for water.
So just when you think you've seen it all, then among the ruins, more superhumans, among them Camille and Michael Giraldi.
In the center of all this, Camille Giraldi, adoptive mother of 24 needy kids. She's trying to hold it together.
I'm shocked. I mean, this just all happened in the last 10 minutes. It's shocking to me.
People just show up.
Outside the Giraldi's Kendall home, complete strangers appear with supplies.
We got everything we put out of the office.
Look at the pool deck. Dozens and dozens and dozens of little kids' shoes lining the deck. Out here trying to dry off all these shoes, absolutely soaked. It's going to be days before these kids can put them on. Camille's not at all fazed about that. She's letting them run around barefoot. Over here, the wheelchairs, the strollers, all of them out here drying. This thing got hit by insulation. And the ventilation machines, they're brought out here because the ceiling above them collapsed. There were 3 kids who had serious breathing problems during the storm. Those 3 kids are now at the hospital.
Holding her newest son, 2-week-old Sonny, Camille tells us she's called all kinds of state agencies for help, but they've failed her so far. It is the people, total strangers, who've come to help.
So there's so many needy people, so many people in need of so many things. It's mind-boggling, and we just, those of us who can help, those of us who only have the inconvenience of no power and no water and you know, maybe some water on our rugs, we really need to understand that there's a lot of people who have it a lot worse than us.
You know, I'm very fortunate. I only went one day without anything to eat. And I got my electric back on last night, and I said, okay, I'm fine. Let me come home.
The boxes were heavy. Okay. Hundreds of people have been showing up here at the Broward Mall and Plantation, bringing all of their non-perishable goods, their water, their baby food, their diapers, everything they can get their hands on. They're bringing from their own homes to share with the people in Dade County.
I was really blessed.
You feel lucky that we weren't hit, and that's why you're here?
You bet. Sure am. I feel sorry for the other people.
It's an anonymous check made in the amount of $10,000. $10,000.
That incidentally brings our total now to over $17,000.
A little girl came up and said, I want to give my doll.
You know, doing the Y100 Channel 4 drive, you get to balance and offset the darker side of some of the things that are going on. You get to see so many people step forward, and you realize that there's a lot more goodness than there are scoundrels running around out there.
This is what is happening. People are walking up and saying, I have a truck. Where do you want me to drive it to? How can I get it filled up with stuff?
One of the most wonderful things that we have heard about is that Wayne Huizinga, who of course is the chairman of Blockbuster Video, has come forward and said, hey, let's get some corporations together and give some major bucks.
We just was passing by looking for ice. And we just saw people out here, so we stopped.
And nobody knows where this stuff came from?
No.
It just appeared in this field.
Yes.
It's kind of strange, isn't it?
Yes, it is, but thank God. Thank God.
What is it that motivated you this time?
People, my town. You are your brother's keeper. You are.
We are in Miramar near North Perry Airport. The airplane went down over here. Follow me. We're on top of a roof. The police won't let us get any closer. You can see the plane over there sticking out of that roof over there. It damaged 2 houses as it came down. Now, we understand there is one person still inside the plane. That person is dead. There were 3 men in the plane altogether. One of those people is Joe Sagaki, the WIOD sports personality. Obviously, Hurricane Andrew is still wreaking havoc on South Florida, indirectly at least. These people were on their way to Homestead. It was a relief flight.
We had organized a relief effort to bring food down to the migrant farm workers in far southwest Dade, and we had loaded up the planes, and I took off first, and then I got down
to Homestead, and his plane didn't show up.
The 2 deaths in the volunteer airlift brutally demonstrated what we've been gradually realizing for 3 days now. That although the volunteer relief effort was incredible, it simply was not going to be enough.
I can tell you that you won't be left to pick up the pieces by yourselves.
There's nowhere to go. They're gonna raid our place, what we got left. And we got nobody to help us board up everything.
They told you to go to City Hall?
Yeah, so we're gonna go try to get some answers from there. We're doing it for our kids, you know, because we can't let them go hungry.
The only thing I got is what I got on my back, and I brought a blanket and a pillow and my medication, thank goodness. So that's all I got.
Some of us have been here since 8 o'clock this morning trying to get the food out to these people. It's been red tape, it's been this, it's been that. And let me tell you, hurricanes don't follow rules.
We had a guy come up a little while ago who was really upset, who said, hey, sundown's coming. I live over in a residence just down the street, and why don't they come over and protect my house?
Right now, we're working with limited assets. Had a little bit of difficulty getting guardsmen into the area.
Where are they to help us, the Americans, that pay the taxes, that do the things, that follow the rules, that help everybody else in the world? Where are they when we need the help?
We're in the day 3 of the hurricane. If you're so dadgum smart about how to do this thing, you better come down here and do it.
Are you frustrated, Governor?
I'm frustrated when people say, why haven't you fixed this?
Right, but I mean, you have to.
The Army can build a city in the day, I hear. The Army took care of the whole Persian Gulf in 3 days. How long did it take the Army to plan for that before they went in there? I've seen more dadgum work done in a shorter period of time than I've ever seen in my life, and the naysayers are out there, you know, griping and saying that you should have done it a different way. Come help us. Do it a different way. I need help.
A new day has dawned, and believe me, we anticipate a much better day than we did yesterday.
And our military resources are responding promptly and massively to the hurricane disaster.
She is on the ground.
We now have soldiers with mobile kitchen trailers at Homestead Air Force Base.
This is going to serve lunch today.
Contracts have been let for 6 million more gallons of water.
This is a marked improvement from what we saw just 24 hours ago. That it's taking off from, the Sylvania, is sometimes called the world's largest floating refrigerator. It's a huge food cabinet. 4 of these helicopters are flying non-stop, 8 in the morning to dusk, coming over here, picking up loads like that you see there, and then heading over to the Army field kitchen.
The National Guard chopper takes off with a full load, everything from water to wheelchairs. The crew of the 199th Med Company is trying to go beyond the obvious devastation in South Dade to the areas where the roads are impassable, the conditions impossible. They set down on 202nd Avenue, and no sooner the helo is surrounded by hungry, scared people, many still wearing that look of having lived through hell.
Just terror, pure terror. Everybody was freaking out. It was hard to keep calm, and you know, when wind is flying and furniture and everything going all over the place and your roof's off your head, try to lay down in a bathtub and behind doors and anything you can do to get out from being blown away.
The supplies are being stocked at the Roach's house. It is from here as many as 30 families will get their help. They need so much more.
They need milk for the kids. If you can bring any ice, you know, ice.
We have some ice on board.
Okay.
Plastic
and plastics.
As we snake our way over the concrete chunks that were once support beams, neighbors talk about coming too close to death.
They hid right over there, and like where the kitchen was, and the house just collapsed around, they say around a half hour after the storm started hitting hard. That was around 4:20, 4:30 in the morning.
So they actually stuck it
Yeah,
out in the
they
middle
stuck
of
it out there. It was crazy. They thought the house was safe like everybody else, you know. Everybody else out here thought their houses were all right. Say thank you. You're welcome.
The little kids get candy, though they really need sunscreen. This particular group from the National Guard has 25 aircraft doing the same thing, searching, circling, supplying from sunup to sundown. Each time they land, still more needy people.
But your number one need out here right now?
Tents, and cots, and visqueen.
What about the rains? Did you guys get clobbered with rains last night?
That's why we need the visqueen, because the visqueen protects all the merchandise that we're getting. If we get a lot of stuff and then it rains on it, it's going to damage it.
These people in the eastern Everglades are energized by these supplies, but they still worry about the neighbors they've not yet heard from, a mother and her 2 sons down the road. They also worry about those who insist on staying in broken homes.
It's a family with 2 little kids. One is sick. We already supplied them with everything they need. But I think they're not going to be able to stand in overnight because the roof is about to be give up.
This group has some tents. They will make it through the night, but they will need so much more.
Does it ever seem completely overwhelming to you all?
It really seems incredible. It almost seems like you'll never get it done, but we're going to do it. It may take a little longer in some places than others, but we'll get it done.
And as they do, they are appreciated.
Feels good seeing all these people come through and really helping out the people. They have no food and their homes are all busted down, and just glad to help them out down here.
One more, I think it's going to be about all.
We feel good helping people, American citizens, because, if that happened to us, we would hope that they would do the same thing for us, and we just glad to be here to help.
There's literally tens of thousands of heroic things that no one knows about.
This is where Charleston Police Department has set up camp. And they are here with a whole contingent of police officers, and they are aiding the Homestead Police in the arrests.
But we're trying to share our experiences with Hugo, and sometimes it has helped them in a couple of situations thus far.
They have literally just walked away from their homes to protect other homes.
I went to my house last night. First time I was able to go to my house was about 14 hours after it hit, and about 50% of my house is gone.
MRE.
So rescue workers from Orlando and dog teams from Jacksonville pour over what remains of this trailer park, tearing into the debris, hoping against hope that if someone is here, they might still be alive.
These crews are coming from all over the southeastern part of the United States, 800 of them.
Looks like a military convoy.
It does, a convoy.
Approximately 700,000 homes and businesses have now been returned to service after the first day of the devastation left by Hurricane Andrew.
We turned the building on the other day, got fireworks and applaud and all kinds of stuff. Makes it worthwhile.
Let it go, babe. That's pretty ridiculous, isn't it?
Many of South Florida's irreplaceable community treasures were damaged or destroyed by Hurricane Andrew. Some may come back and be even better, but others were lost forever.
Hey.
Okay.
We're taking a look at Metro Zoo. All the trees have been defoliated. You're looking at some sticks sticking up out of the ground. Many of them snapped over.
Supposedly stress tested to 150 mile-an-hour winds, which is obviously not the case anymore. And when you walk in here, it just overwhelms you. A lot of the keepers here used to call this paradise because that's what it used to be. You could come in here and just unwind, and now it's just an absolute destruction area. It looks like an atomic bomb went off in here.
And I believe that Metro Zoo is going to be better than it ever was. Maybe not as beautiful right away because you can't grow trees in a day, but it's going to be better because it's really more than ever going to be the people's zoo. They're the ones who are rebuilding it. Everything we're doing now is being done through the people, what they're giving us.
We don't know exactly where they're going, possibly to other bases either in Florida or in Georgia, but they are blasting off right now in advance of Hurricane Andrew.
It looks like an Air Force base that one might imagine was involved in some kind of a nuclear blast. I mean, the damage here is just almost beyond description. I mean, every single facility here has some major structural damage to it. Certainly the mission that this base has performed is one that has been focused on the Caribbean and on Cuba for decades now. I don't think anybody can argue that the mission is any less today because the storm went through. The question is going to be, do we have the resources at this time to reconstitute the base and keep it involved in its original mission?
With all the damage that has to be repaired, operators here at Miami Seaquarium say they have no idea when they're going to be able to reopen.
Under that tin shed was one of his boats, also one of his original boats, his 16th vessel, an 1891 boat that he used to go back and forth to New York with. Gone. It's in splinters on the property.
It's really a piece of history completely lost here. It's something we will never see again.
When you go into the gardens, we've got many years of work to get back to where we were looking before Andrew. But we're here and we'll be back. We made it through pretty good, I'd say.
We took damage to the roofs of a lot of these cars, and we got some busted windows, but our toys basically have survived. It's going to take a lot of tender care to get them back together again, but we're going to be able to do it.
So where do you go from here?
Well, we're going to start from scratch. We're feeding the animals. We're keeping them well. After we get the animals, paths cut to the animals that we can reach them and get them to the point where they're psychologically healthy and well, and get them calmed down. Then we're going to clean up the paths so that we can start repairing.
The nature of the garden to look at these disasters in the face and say, by God, we can do it even better next time, and we will grow a wonderful garden again. The Fairchild Garden will rise again.
We're looking at the different kinds of construction of these homes. And what was it you were saying?
Well, there's actually three gradations of things here. Over here we have the CBS type construction with tile roofs, right here. Next over here we have the mobile home park and the manufactured home park. And then next over there we have the wood frame construction of the country walk area. And you just look at the gradation. Look at the gradation. And even within the concrete block structures. If you notice around here to the right, if you can swing around to the right a little bit now, if Paul can swing just to the right, you can see the concrete block structures over there with the red roofs over there. I don't think even a tile is missing. So there must be something different between how that complex was built as compared to one across the street. Right. And clearly, much difference between the damage here, here, and here.
Yeah, it's incredible. If you look back there, look at that. There's a whole complex that looks absolutely perfect. And right across the street, you see a complex that obviously there was some kind of deficiency in the way the roofs were put on, because while the walls all stood up fine, there's a lot of windows out and the roofs obviously came off. Bob, did you ever think it would be this bad?
No, I did not. I don't think any of us comprehended this. I've looked at hurricane damage ever since I've been involved in the game, and certainly back in 1969, the Camille incident. Certainly areas of Camille is as bad as this, but as widespread as this, no, there's nothing to compare to this. Well, the winds, when they get up to the order this hurricane was sustained about 140, and gusts may have been up to 150, 170, 175 or so. That's just like a tornado, except it's not a tornado that's a block wide, it's a tornado that's 25 miles wide or so. Clearly, it's a difference in construction.
Yeah.
They did not experience any different condition in this mobile home park or this park over here or Country Walk than that complex did right over there, and yet tremendous difference in the damage that was done. For just a few percent in the cost of construction of a building, we'd had the kind of buildings that were over there, and we'd instead of this 15 to 20 billion dollars in a loss, it would have been far, far less. And those people that my own secretary that had to go through this thing with construction that failed around her, and my family that fortunately were out of this area, but those people that had to go through that, there's no excuse for that. We should have been doing something about this a long time ago.
At first sight, this damage is unbelievable, but then when you think about it, this is the outside wall. This is the outside wall. It's supposed to protect you from the elements. This is supposed to protect you from a hurricane.
It's just a thin sheet, almost like paneling. In fact, that's probably the way you would describe it. Nailed directly to the studs. There is a sheet of fiberboard in there. Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
This is something in a good grip. I think I could probably break myself. I mean, is it? What kind of winds is this supposed to be?
120 miles per hour, as the Dade County inspector said.
Yeah, the design wind speeds are for 120 miles per hour in this county, but that won't cut it.
But this won't cut 120 miles an hour?
No.
What would it cut?
I have no idea, but it's a lot less than that.
100, maybe.
Keep going.
Keep going down.
Down.
90. This is Hurricane Ed. Hurricane Ed just destroyed this house. Just destroyed the house. That's great. Hurricane Ed.
Lennar is out there trying to put on this facelift because they don't want everybody to see their hurricane damage.
Who bulldozed your driveway?
Man, I just went over there. This man right down, I'll take you down the cul-de-sac, and they have specific orders to go. There's heavy machinery graded across my driveway. Driveways, and when you see my cul-de-sac, we're talking about there's a heap of my garbage in the cul-de-sac. This man in the green hat here, the chartreuse hat, is the one who told me the exact order he got. I don't want to talk to the news. Sorry. He says he doesn't want to talk to the news.
What did he say to you?
He told me, he says we were supposed to clean all the cul-de-sacs and streets and the driveways.
And what did you lose? Why are you?
I'll take you over there and I'll show you. Okay, I'll show you exactly. That's one thing I found this morning right there. 108th MP Company, Fort Bragg, North Carolina. This is from 1977, from my hometown in Ohio.
So where was this stuff?
This stuff was in my cul-de-sac. This is my This is my daughter. This is myself and my daughter. Easter picture from 1992.
What did you?
This is the stuff I'm finding in my cul-de-sac, in my pile of rubbish in the middle of my cul-de-sac that's been scraped from my driveway. When you see my house, I haven't even got 50% of my house out yet.
And so you're trying to get your stuff out, and they came along and they just scraped it out into the middle.
It scraped it out into the middle of the street. And this is not even Lennar's subdivision. They don't own nothing. Their homeowners association doesn't even control this anymore.
And he's saying that Lennar told him to clean all of this.
They're putting a facelift out here so that people won't realize the hurricane damage to their death traps. They're trying to make it a nice, clean scene so that they can get the people to buy their new homes that are still being built in the other phases. I called 911 and I said, I'm a former military policeman and I am on the edge, and this guy is totally ruining my personal belongings. I called the Lennar subdivision and Lennar said, we gave an order to clean only the streets. This is the biggest atrocity there is. This is a human mind that's responsible for this, not nature. And they can go and take your personal belongings. Just bulldoze them. Unbelievable. Found that over there in the pile. It's a Miami Herald picture of Martha's wedding picture. Found some Easter pictures. And I don't know what else is at the bottom of the pack, of the stack.
One of the most important questions that's being asked in the aftermath of this storm is, why did some neighborhoods suffer so much damage and others so little? We're in Country Walk, very hard-hit neighborhood in Southwest Dade, with Dr. Wen Chang at the University of Miami. Dr. Chang, you've taken a look at this house for us. You're an engineering expert. What was wrong here with the construction?
Oh, I think it's a shoddy workmanship and also inferior material was used.
And if the building would have been up to code, what do you think would have been the extent of the damage here?
I would think the extent of damage, you will see the roofing tile and as well as the roofing paper throughout, but the structure would be intact.
Okay, and today, a resident here in the Arvida community filed a lawsuit against Arvida and the former owners of Arvida, the Walt Disney Corporation. We should expect to see a lot more of these, given the allegations by engineers like Dr. Chang of just how poor the work might have been here.
To destroy this place and bulldoze it.
Yeah.
That cannot be done. Hold on a minute.
I think that this is indicative of the building quality in this community as compared to one still within the eye wall area that on the map that the Herald had. It's poor, it appears to be poor quality, and we can't get any answers from them.
And those answers might be a long time coming. But as we sift through the debris of the broken homes and the broken lives that Andrew left behind, what have we learned? Well, we've learned that we can live through this, both as individuals and as a community. We lost some people to Andrew. Let's hope with a little more education, a little more work, that we won't lose anybody the next time. We can learn to build a better city here, to build better buildings and to build better bonds between people. That process has already started. What didn't we learn? We didn't learn the high-rise lesson. We don't know what would have happened if that intense core part of the storm had hit Brickell Avenue, or Aventura, or Hallandale, or Hollywood, or up to Pompano Beach. All those high-rise condos with all those unprotected windows. We don't know what would have happened if that intense part of the storm had hit those areas. We also don't know what would have happened if that intense core part of the storm had hit downtown Miami or downtown Fort Lauderdale, the economic centers of our region. What would have happened to the long-term economy of this area if all those jobs had been lost? We just don't know. We have fears for the next time. We're afraid too many people are going to try and leave, to evacuate to Orlando or Fort Myers on the Turnpike or Tamiami Trail or Alligator Alley. That thousands of people will get caught in their cars trying to get out of here, and then the storm might veer off just a little bit and hit where they are, and there will be too much traffic, and they'll be trapped there in their cars, the worst place they can possibly be. We need to thank lots of people. We need to thank the people that came from all over the world to help us here. We need to especially thank those people that came from South Carolina. They left before the storm even hit. We need to thank the volunteers that gave their time, their food, their money, their supplies. We can't thank them enough. We need to thank all the people we talked about in the last 2 hours that worked harder than they've ever worked before. And we need to thank the staff here at Channel 4 that put together a plan and kept us on the air throughout the storm. We can hope this has been the storm of a lifetime, but we can't bet on it. We're hurricane veterans here now, and we know we have to build a better city. We have to check our buildings, building by building, house by house. We need to be sure that they're ready for the next time a storm comes along. We know the quality of the people here now. We know their spirit. And we can hope this spirit stays with us as we rebuild South Florida together.
Somebody pray for me. Took a little time and prayed for me. I'm so glad they prayed. I'm so glad they prayed for me. Say thank you.
I got some extra you. You need some more paper products? Yeah. All right. What do you got? Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Gotta stick together, make the best of things. You know, this thing ain't gonna kick my butt, or it shouldn't kick nobody else's, but, you know, we still have our life, we still have our, you know, our dignity and all that. So we make the best of it, stick together, and I'm sure we'll get out of here, because I'm gonna be living in the same place, you know, and I'm gonna come back, and everybody else should come back.
Where do you go from here?
We just rebuild. We don't quit, we just rebuild.
This got started this morning. We put about 50 guys from the community to work here, and they're all willing to go. Tired of sitting around moping, you know. Just get in and get something done.
So you were able to find a lot of people that are ready to go out and get started on this stuff, huh?
I didn't advertise at all. We just came over here and started working, and people came from the communities everywhere, and didn't ask how much they're getting paid or anything. Just started working.
We just got power back this afternoon.
How long has it been?
7 days.
7 days.
7 long, miserable days.
Beyond
Tonight, we're gonna turn it up really cold and get a good night's sleep.
Finally.
Yes.
Finally.
We're very strong. We have a strong faith, wonderful friends, and good family, and we'll make it.
We all really love the Homestead area, and it's not like what it used to be, but we'd like to try to build it back up and make it what it used to be sometime. I know it's going to take a long time. It's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel now, but I'm sure with a lot of hard work we'll get there.